Hello and welcome to level 52 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with bold takes and no strings attached. I am Jeremy, here once again with my two compadres. Of course, I have David.
What up?
And I have Cory.
Hiya, gentlemen.
Hello. It's a very
Hello
warm
there.
greeting. Yeah. Hello. As in the previous episode, which was level 51, we're back. We hope that you enjoyed that episode. We hope that you enjoyed the competitive format of Gamer Bait. It was indeed a great debate. I was listening back, watching it as I edited the episode. It was neck and neck there for a while, man. You guys were really kind of duking it out. You know, David had some great points. Cory had some not so great points. They swapped every once in a while. You know, it was fantastic.
Somehow I won, though. That's weird.
You did.
It was close.
It was close. I mean, do you have an idea? Do you have any kind of feeling of what may have put you over? Do you have any kind of idea of what round maybe?
I sucked up to you pretty much the entirety of the show. I feel like maybe Halo and really talking about the campaign over multiplayer put me over the top. But,
well, you're wrong, right?
Oh.
Sucking up to me actually lost you a point.
Yes, it did. A couple.
it was the Zelda round.
Really?
Yeah, and that's just because
I took all the good points and David was left with nothing.
I mean, but he even said he wouldn't have made the points you made. It's just that you care about Nintendo a lot more than we do.
Yeah. I'm passionate.
Exactly. Speaking of passion, let's jump right into it, guys. Let's jump right into the games we've been playing. What have we been playing?
I played the first chapter of Dead Space.
Yeah?
Nice. How do you like it?
It's good so far. Nice story from what I'm gathering. I like what it's doing, where it's going. The guns, I got the second gun. I was like shooting the bad guy things with it. I'm like, this is crap. And then I realized there was like another one. So it was like a landmine thing, and it just killed them in one. I'm like, okay, so use that one. But I haven't played it again. I'm gonna try and play a chapter every week, so that way I have something new to talk about.
I like that.
But besides that, a lot of Apex.
I don't know if you talked about this, but did you play the original Dead Space at all?
No, this is the first
brand new. So this is really cool for you.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to ask about the game that makes it a kind of unique, I've read, is you got to blow off limbs. It's not like headshots. Like most like horror games, like headshot, go for the headshot. This one's like you got to take it out like legs, then arms. Like is that?
That is
that novel? Is that cool?
It's what you're supposed to do. I don't know. I'm not playing on the hardest difficulty, so if I just shoot it enough times, it dies.
Okay.
But you do save ammunition if you go for the limbs.
Okay, very cool.
Was that not how it was in the first one?
I remember dismemberment in the first one.
Okay.
I bought the first one. It was very scary. I did not play it much, but from the reviews I read, that is like one of the key points of like. And obviously you're in chapter 1, so I'm assuming later chapters that'll probably be more of an emphasis. But I thought that was pretty novel because, like I said, most times it's shoot for the head. This one is you got to take it apart. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
What about you guys?
Jeremy, what are you playing, man?
I have been playing. What have I been playing? I have been playing. Wildermyth. I checked it out. I just crossed the 30-hour threshold, or not threshold, just the 30-hour line. I'm beginning the 4th campaign or 4th story that's in like the book of stories you can go into. It's interesting because I'm always looking for games to play on my Steam Deck, and then I just get frustrated that I can't find one that I want to play. I missed the sale on Shadow of War. Very mad at myself for that. And then I'm like, man, what do I got on here? Well, I got The Witcher, but I don't feel like playing a Witcher. And then I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, Wildermyth, completely Steam Deck compatible. I freaking love this game. I love it, man. I cannot get enough of it. I put 30 hours in. I finished the third campaign, and this hasn't happened for a long time. I was genuinely sad it was over.
Really?
Like most of the time, I'm like, I guess I played Ghost, and I was like, you know what, it's over, but it's about time. We had a good run, This for Wildermyth, I got done with this the third book or whatever, and I was like, no. I saw the credits running, and then I saw, oh no, there's like a whole another 6-7 books you can play, and I was like, yes, there is a God. So I've been going back in there, and like I said, just started up the fourth book, 30 hours in. I can't wait to put another 50, 60 hours into this, honestly. I'm looking forward to it. So I've been mostly playing Wildermyth, a little bit of Boss Sort on the mobile, not going to lie. It's still got a little bit of a hold on me. But I've been playing mostly Wildermyth. So, yeah.
I want to follow up on Wildermyth a little bit. Now, I love stats and rankings and all that stuff. And I'm just interested in Jeremy because I think David would agree, like, when you find a game that you're passionate about, it's like, oh man, he's really passionate, Like a lot of times you'll be like, okay, this game was okay, but I want to know, man, like Wildermyth, when it's all said and done, where do you see this like kind of stopping on your all-time list? I don't know if you've ever thought about an all-time list. I used to do some for fun every so often, but you're talking about 30 hours in, sad to see it done. You might get 50 more.
Right.
Do you see it cracking in the top 20, the top 10?
It's gonna, if not already, top 20.
Beautiful.
As far as the game. Top 10 is hard, man. I mean, right off rip, Morrowind and Skyrim is taken, they're up there. GTA Vice City is right there. Civ 5 is what I probably give, maybe being right up there.
Okay.
As far as like those, and then like some of my like older favorite classics, like this one game, Metal Fatigue, which is janky, but I freaking love it. The Guild 2 Renaissance, which is janky as all get out, but I love.
You've talked about it, yeah?
Yeah, exactly, right. And then I don't talk about it a lot, but I probably sank over a lifetime 1,000 hours into The Sims over the course of its entire run. I mean, The Sims is up there.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
The top 10 is tough. It might get there.
I promise this audience that eventually we will do a top 20 or top 50 even. We're gonna have to make that a Patreon goal, I think.
Yeah, like our top 50 games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest.
I'm so interested in hearing both of yours.
I don't even know
you've talked about these games that you've loved. And I'm just like, where do they rank? How much do you love them?
I don't even know if I've played 50 games that have made an impression on me.
You have, for sure. For sure. You have.
Yeah. But yeah, I've just been playing Wildermyth. Cory, what about you? What have you been playing?
I have been jumping into Hogwarts Legacy. So for anyone that doesn't know, I am a huge Harry Potter fan. Since I was a little kid, read the books probably about 10 times each. Love the world. Forever wanted a game like this. So I'm about 5-6 hours in. And yeah, man, it really hits a lot of the things I wanted when I was growing up, where I'm like, man, I wish they could make a game like this. And the technology just was never there until now. But yeah, pretty decent combat. The things I love the most are exploring the world, though. The world that I read on the pages of the book onto the screen. I never really watched the movies. As big a fan as I am, I was a little bit of a book snob when it came to that. Like, oh, the movies aren't as good, which they're probably not. I haven't watched them really, so I don't know. Yeah. But I'm finally getting to see Hogwarts in all its glory and all the secrets and the puzzles and just so much attention to detail in every space of that game. So much of that castle is filled with just little nods and portraits. And if you're a fan of the book or movies, you are going to love this game. Love it. So, yeah, very happy to have that. I'm hoping I can stick with it because I told you guys the episode that did not air that I was trying to play one game at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing Fire Emblem. I haven't beat it, but then I jumped to Hogwarts. So I'm hoping I stick with Hogwarts.
Already lying to yourself, man.
And then I'll work my way back to Fire Emblem, Crisis Core, Tactics Ogre. I've got a few on the docket I want to play, but Hogwarts is definitely at the top of the list right now.
Yeah, that would seem like the process. Like, I know that I ended up getting that as one of the gifts I got my girlfriend for Valentine's Day. She's a quote unquote Potterhead. Is that what you guys call yourselves? I don't know.
I don't put labels on it.
Potheads?
Okay.
No, no.
Right?
Is that already taken?
Potterheads, right?
Potterheads is taken.
Potterheads.
Yeah. But yeah, ever since she got it, she's been playing it nonstop. So I strongly believe once that you're like 5-6 hours in, you're going to probably hit a point where it really digs its claws into you and does not let go for quite some time.
You know what house she's in?
It's one of the houses that aren't Slytherin, so therefore it's an irrelevant house. It's Team Slytherin all day. Slytherin all
so
day.
Like, I mean, it's neither here nor there, but I just want to give a word of advice for anyone that doesn't have the game yet. So each of the 4 houses have a unique mission to them, right? Before you start one of these main missions, to get to this main mission, you got to do a mission that's unique to your own house. And I had read that Hufflepuff had a Azkaban mission. For, if you don't know, Azkaban is the wizard prison guarded by Dementors. And the only way to go to that location in the game was to be part of Hufflepuff. So I was like, oh man, you know, Hufflepuff is by far the worst house out of the 4, but like, man, this is the only chance to see it. The mission was like 2 minutes long, only a cutscene, and they tricked me into being into the worst house. So I'm like, oh my, this is how you become a dark wizard.
Well, if you get tricked like that, maybe you deserve to be a Hufflepuff. I mean, come on, you can't fall for the okey doke like that.
That's a great point. Yeah. I guess I truly am a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
They're like highest ranking member ever is the dude that got killed by Voldemort. Like, come on, like you didn't invent anything. You got killed by Voldemort in your 7th year. Just come on, Cedric.
Right. Meanwhile, a lot of people may not know this. Merlin came from the House of Slytherin.
Yeah, I saw that in the game. That's awesome. Yeah, he's a sly dog. But yeah, so Hogwarts Legacy had me thinking. Now, like I already mentioned, as a kid, I was so into Harry Potter, and I wanted there to be a game for it. And there was games. There was games, I believe, made by EA early on.
Yeah.
Never bought them, even though I'm a fan of the IP. Oh, horrible.
So bad.
But yeah, I didn't buy them because I had taste, even as a youngster. I was like, if the game's not going to be good, I don't want to waste my money, especially as a young kid because you didn't have money like that. But in my mind, I always wanted a Harry Potter RPG. At the time, it was made by Bethesda. That's who I wanted to make it, you know, kind of have the whole open world Hogwarts to explore, all these little tiny things. And that was my dream game. And I feel like this is coming very, very close. I'm so happy to have it because it is a Hogwarts RPG. You're not Harry Potter, but you start at the school, you're learning spells, you're going to classes, you're finding secrets, and you're flying brooms. It's all I ever wanted in a Harry Potter game. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things they can add in future sequels, which I hope they do. But man, this was a dream come true. So I want to hear from you guys. Like, do you still have that dream of a game that's going to come out in the future, and what is it?
For me, it's an updated Twisted Metal. Still waiting for the day.
Yeah.
Just Battle Royale Twisted Metal, you know, it's such a good game. It was. I can see it being a huge thing. No one wants to listen to me.
So your dream game is what are we talking, like total like remake of Twisted Metal?
They could remake them.
Yeah.
Or make a new one, and you can like actually verse other people instead of just computers. Or if you're playing the campaign, it's going to be against computers. But those games, at least most of them, can't say all of them, had good stories. You had to play every character, unlock every story, and the maps were good. The battling was good. It was all around a good game. The music was even good.
Mm-hmm.
The music in 2 and 3 just killed. And 4, now that I think about it.
Well, and the PS3 one wasn't it, right?
That
we
one,
talked about
it
them before.
had Paint It Black, and that was about it.
Well, just in general, like the game itself was just.
It was good. It was better than Black is the one I'm thinking of. That one.
No, Black was
good.
great.
Yes, the
Black
other
was great.
PS3 one was horrible.
Yeah, Black was PS2. That was like a launch title.
And maybe. Okay. It's been a while. But yeah, the latest Twisted Metal got awful.
Yeah. That's, what's interesting is that, Cory, you asked, like, what's our dream game? And Cory, and David went back to a game that already existed.
Yes.
And here's the thing. I'm not knocking it.
No.
I'm not knocking it because my two are games that have already been made that were dream games. It may sound weird. So the first one was a dream game, was one of the games I've talked about I wanted to go back and play, but I can't play because it's on an old system, and the old system has anti-cheats on it that don't work with the new Windows operating system. And that's the game called The Movies by Lionshead Studios, before they went and became the Fable Studio. That is a game about running a movie studio. That's like, I'm like, what? That's like ridiculously cool. And then that's like a dream, like being able to be able to write the scripts and like shoot the movies and like create the actors and all those different things. That's freaking cool. But even more so, I'd say something that was like a dream, and this is going to sound super weird. I don't know if it'll make sense to anyone, but my dream game was, even more so than the movies, was the original Assassin's Creed. People need to understand how big of a history geek I am, okay? I'm super into history. And one of the things I was most interested about was the Crusades, right? And the fact that this game covered it from the perspective of the assassins, of the Hashashin, and you go to Sudan, to one of their original headquarters in Masaif, and but there's another one that they don't really tell you about. That's like one of the original ones. I forgot exactly where it's located. But like that's a whole thing that I was super into. So when I heard, hey, they're making a historical action adventure movie set in the times of the Crusades from the same team that made Prince of Persia, I was like, oh, someone must have stole my dreams while I was sleeping, because this is the dream game. And yeah, it ended up not being as universally well received as I would have hoped. It had some issues that maybe would have been nice to get worked out. But when you're talking about dream game of mine, if you're asking me even now, what would be your dream game? My dream game would be a remade original Assassin's Creed in Unreal Engine 5. And what I want you to do is I want you to go more in depth with the cultures. I want you to not westernize my protagonist. His name is Altair. Make him Arab. That's what he is. They tried to back revise it in some later ones, but that's what he is. Explore more of that. Explore the original headquarters in Alamut, not the one in Masaif, Syria, I believe. I want that. I want it to be even more historically geeky than it originally was. That's what I want. That's my dream game right there, which may be weird, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I thought of this topic, I didn't envision both you picking remakes of games that are over 20 years old.
Right.
And in Twisted Metal's case, like almost 30, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if Assassin's Creed's 20 years old yet, but it's getting close, right? Like it's yeah.
What's the original? What was the original one on?
PlayStation for Twisted Metal.
Yeah. No, the Assassin's Creeds. I know that one, Cory.
Was it 360?
360.
Yeah, like early on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not quite 20 years, but I thought you guys were gonna maybe pick an IP that you really love, like a Breaking Bad game, or like I have a couple. Like I have envisions of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game made by Rocksteady, the people who made the Batman Arkham games.
Okay.
And doing a 4-player co-op, but like a serious version, because the original comics are I love the cartoon. That's what I grew up on. But the original comics are a lot more serious. They deal with more mature themes, and there's a lot more violence in it. So I thought if Rocksteady made that game, it would be perfect.
I can get on board with that one, honestly.
Another one I want an anime party fighter a la Smash Bros. Give Nintendo a bunch of different anime franchises and let them make a party game with all these really cool anime characters and let them go wild. There's a few like that, but I don't like the style like Jump Force.
I was just but I was gonna say you'd rather have it more like Smash Brothers, than like Street Fighter.
Yes, so like there's Dragon Ball Fighters, which I really like, but for me, there's like an upper limit of that game that I can't get past. I can't dedicate the time to get better at that game. I have a decent amount of skill, but there's just a limit I can't get to. With Smash Bros, it feels like such a game where it's more about reacting and timing and positioning and not quite learning the perfect string of combos,
Okay, yeah.
So like I can get better at the game quicker and get to a higher level quicker and keep that higher level. So I would love them to make a game like that. And there's been Multiverses, which is, Warner Brothers, and like they're making games like that. And even back in the day, there was a game called Jumpstar on DS that was Japan only, that was Smash Bros-esque. But it was Japan only and on the DS. So I never got to play it. And like I said, Jump Force now is kind of like a arena fighter, which arena fighters are okay, but they're not my favorite. So those are my dream games.
Well, going with the theme of that, I'll give you one it's an IP that already has a game, but I'd like to see done a little bit differently. I'm super into Narcos. So I would like to see a Narcos game made in the vein of the Mafia games. So, and more so Mafia 1. Where Mafia, like more like Mafia 1, Mafia 2. Mafia 3 is like open world, and I don't want that for it. The first two were way more linear in their storytelling. So I would like one that's like kind of like that with like really great cutscenes and, like really interesting like characters and the whole story. I'd love it if you were like, if the story was like you playing a young Pablo Escobar and kind of like the rise of all of his empire and stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool. So that's something like that, because I like Narcos is in that pantheon of shows for me, as far as like a Breaking Bad or a Sopranos or something like that. So I'd pick that up firsthand. But before I would buy, but the only thing I would buy before that is a remade Assassin's Creed with Altair. Yeah. Or name something different. I don't care. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't even think of turning shows into games.
Yeah, shows or old cartoons or even movies, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't even cross my mind.
And it's so much better of a chance happening now because you see so many off the wall things turned into video games now. Like they made an Evil Dead game. I don't know if you guys are Evil Dead fans at all.
I did.
But I bought it.
You did?
It was very mid. Didn't play it long, but it was there. I'm not even a fan of the franchise, but
you said
they're making killer clowns from outer space. Like,
I saw that.
If you have a dream of a TV show, movie / entertainment property becoming a game, like it's more possible now than it ever has been.
What about a horror? Check this out. Okay, now we're just spitballing game ideas. What about a horror survival game set in the Cocaine Bear universe? You're a survivor. You got to survive this freaking bear that's just ripped up on powder. I think that would make a very funny but compelling story. I mean, have you guys seen a bear? Have you smelled a bear? It's terrifying.
No.
The only thing scarier than a bear is a moose. I mean, it's absolutely
mooses
terrifying.
Are huge. I wouldn't put money on this, but I bet in the next 5 months or something, there's a Cocaine Bear game asset flip on Steam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like there's going to be someone going off. Yeah, let's do it. Make quick money.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, a survivor freaking running away from a coked out bear. He just blowing through walls and stuff. Like there's nowhere to hide. Like
Exactly.
Right. You gotta run away until he runs out the cocaine hit, but he can find more stashes of it. So if he finds that, he can keep going and keep searching you down.
You have to destroy the stashes of cocaine.
Yes. Okay.
While you're running away. They're power-ups.
or now it's a hunt game.
And there's a third character, there's Pablo Escobar, providing the cocaine to the bear.
Right.
Like that's
not a bad tie-in. That's not a bad tie-in.
Flying in on his chopper.
yeah.
You know what? I would give you a couple of points if this was on the.
Hey.
I would give you a couple of points for that. That was a nice tie-in. That's called synergy, people. That's brand cohesion that just happened there.
You only get that when you like each other, right?
Okay.
You know. Moving on.
Debatable.
Yeah, moving on to like brand cohesion and brand expansion. So I was telling you guys that I've been playing Wildermyth. Another game that I had tried to play was a game, Cory, you had recommended, which was Marvel Midnight Suns. You said, hey, it's made by Firaxis. It kind of has a little bit of the XCOM feel to it, but it has like the deck building aspect of it and all that stuff. They just recently had a free play weekend of it on Steam. So I downloaded it on the Steam Deck. It actually plays really good on the Steam Deck. So I downloaded it and I'm playing it. And I'm like, okay, well, the card deck building thing, I'm kind of getting into this. Okay. And then there's like a little bit of the XCOM thing, partly with like positioning and knockbacks and some stuff. Not full, but you know, the bones of it are there. I can get into this whole thing. Okay, cool. Different power-ups and abilities, right? But then I'd say I got probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours into it. And then there was a lot of story going on. There's a lot of talking.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't like all this talking, right? I'm like, as a gamer, I don't like all this talking. Except I do. Okay? The problem wasn't that they were talking. The problem was that Captain Marvel was talking to Iron Man. And Iron Man was talking to Blade. By the way, nice to see Blade make an appearance. I really appreciate that.
Coming out soon.
It's coming out soon. So that led me to a revelation. And it was, I like this game, except for the fact that it's a Marvel game. And I stopped playing it.
Heartbreaking.
I had the whole weekend to keep playing it for free. It's a brand new game. Right. I could have kept playing the whole weekend. And I stopped playing it so I could go and buy This Is the Beliefs 1 and 2 and start playing those games. And guess what, Cory? They talk just as much in those games.
But you play them because it's not Marvel.
But I enjoyed it. I'm like, yeah, a nice visceral, grounded cop action. Not cop action, but cop story.
Right.
So that made me reflect on myself and think about some things. Has there ever been a game that you either weren't just because of the IP or the thing related to it, you're like, I'm not going to touch it, even though it seems like something I would want to play? Or has there ever been a game where you gave it a try and you're like, you know what? I like this game, except it's based in this universe, or except it has this theme attached to it. And it so disconnects me from the game and the mechanics and everything at the core of it that I just can't enjoy the experience. Has that ever happened for you guys with any games?
Go ahead, David.
I mean, I guess kind of like with the Star Wars, like I played the original Battlefield 2, and that was an amazing game. Like I bought it from her PS3 to play it again, and it's fun. But I just avoid Star Wars. I'm not interested in it. The movies aren't that great in my opinion. Like they're good enough to have, you know, the fans that they do, but to have like a cult following I avoid it. And then if they've made any Star Trek games, I played the one on Sega, and I've never been more mad. So never again want to play a Star Trek game.
Yeah.
So when you told us about this topic, I was like racking my brain because I was thinking much, much, much darker stuff. I didn't know you'd come out with Marvel and Star Wars. I mean, God forbid, I was thinking like Holocaust or like really horrible things. And my answer was, there is not one theme that I would refuse to play.
Okay.
There's not one. You can name everything in the book, and depending on how it was approached and how it was handled, and why they made that theme the way it was, I would give a game a shot if it was something I was interested in. I would have to be interested in the game itself. I'm not going to play a game, oh, this game's the Holocaust, I'm going to play it. Or take, for instance, something like Hatred. Have you guys both heard of that game?
Oh, yeah.
No.
It was quite the stir 5-6 years ago. It was a game about killing innocent people for no reason. Your guy was a lunatic. He was mad. You would go around the streets just murdering people. Literally it was just a murder simulator. And that game should be out there. People should play it if they want to. I had no interest. It looked like a horrible game, and there wasn't really a message behind that. It was literally just a senseless, we're just murdering people. But I have no issue playing any theme at all. Like I said, got to be the right situation, got to have the right purpose behind it. But I would give any game a shot. I see video games as art, and artists like to express themselves just like the same way I would probably check out most any type of movie.
Yeah. So that's it. So even if there's a quote unquote, you wouldn't say you suffer anything. Like, I think for me with Marvel Midnight Suns, it's mostly just a issue of brand fatigue, right?
Yeah. So no, I understand.
Has there never been any case where maybe you've experienced brand fatigue with anything?
I mean, for sure. I know I have.
But that's never kept you from like trying the game or anything?
No, nope.
Okay.
Now, obviously, once I try it, I might be like, oh man, I'm just not into this. For instance, I think a big thing that hurt The Witcher for me was I was kind of done with that kind of grimy, old school medieval feel. Like The Witcher 3 is one of the best games, but I believe Game of Thrones was going on at the time. And you had things like Dragon Age that were before, The Witcher 3. And I was so involved in those, like, we're a little bit magical, we're medieval, but bad things happen here. It's grimy. It's not, fun here. It was kind of like one of those things where I played it. I was like, oh, man, this is just a drag. I just want to have fun, man. Like, I don't want to see this person getting, sexually assaulted or anything. This is too much, But like I said, in a certain time frame, I might want to play something like that. If I get into a certain mood, I want to experience, things deeper than just, Final Fantasy, chocobos or something. So
with something like The Witcher 3, right? Like, you didn't necessarily like enjoy the theme or the atmosphere of it, right? That whole like kind of like desperate, mystical or magical medieval time thing. But so that wasn't like the catalyst for you maybe not playing it. It might have been something like the combat or like the storytelling or something like that might have like spurred your disinterest in it. And this was just another component that was like just not part of what it didn't help make the experience enjoyable at all.
I do think it was the main component, though.
Okay.
I didn't love the combat. I'm more of like a freeform Batman Arkham, and it has a little bit of that with the heavy attacks and dodging and stuff. But I definitely think it was mostly the theme that did it. But I didn't refuse to play it or stop playing it because of that. Like I said, I don't know if the timelines match up, but I did try to play Dragon Age Inquisition, and that the theme hurt, but that game just felt really boring more than anything. And like I said, I was just kind of done with that theme, but not refusing to play it or not necessarily quitting because of just that reason. But yeah, it's a big thing. I have a good friend from work. He really only likes to play realistic games. If your game's not realistic, like no matter what it is, shooters, racing, like if your game's not realistic, he won't touch it at all. I've tried to convince him, like, oh man, this game's a lot of fun. Oh, what's it look like? Well, it has, a cartoony art style. Nah, I can't play that.
That's crazy because like I play games to get away from the real world.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not special in any sort of way when it comes to gaming, but I would say I'm definitely like an omni gamer. That's like a board game term I've been hearing around lately. Omni, everything. I don't care. So, realistic or cartoony, I love it all, man. I just want to experience new things, no matter what it is.
Well, as they say, different strokes for different painters.
Yeah, that's what they say.
So yeah, something like that.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
That's very interesting because like Marvel, it was the Marvel. It was mostly that. That's what took me away from it. David, you mentioned like Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
and like I remember Fallen Order. I should like that game, but I don't because it's Star Wars. I'm an actual Star Wars fan, but it's like just too much. It's too much of the brand. It's too much of the IP. Dress this up as something else, I probably engage with it a lot more.
How far removed from those properties do you have to be to like go back to them though? Like, are you just done with Star Wars in general forever, David? Like, if in 10 years they don't make a Star Wars movie, or a show, which they will.
Yeah, I watched the original 6 movies, and I played Battlefield 2, and I played another one. For the life of me, I can't remember what one it is, but I only enjoyed Battlefield 2. Okay. I like the concept of it, the whole Jedi thing and lightsabers. Those are freaking cool. No, like, hate Star Wars if you want. I'm just not a fan. I don't hate it, but lightsabers, amazing. Yeah, it does not entertain me at all. It might just be the story and everything behind it. But like if Darth Vader's in Fortnite, like that's
fine.
That's fine.
No big deal.
Yeah, like Darth Vader's in here. I don't want to play this anymore. But it's just the story, and I guess that's probably about it.
So Jeremy, same like question for you. How far removed from Marvel? And Marvel will never end, but like, is it right. Is it a dead franchise for you? Like even in 15 years, you can't see yourself picking up a Marvel game?
Here's what I'll say. I think Midnight Suns would have had a better chance had it chose a complete list of heroes that hadn't appeared in any mainline Marvel franchises.
So I was actually going to bring that up, which is funny because obviously they want to sell their game. So half the roster is mainline franchise people. You got your Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, but the other half is the Midnight Suns, like the team from there, which includes Blade, Nico, Magic, the new Ghost Rider, and those characters are the ones I felt most compelled to play with and use because they had abilities I'd never seen before, in terms of like on the big screen, which was nice.
Right. Those should be your characters then.
Yeah, that's who I played as. And that's why I was going to make a plea, I know you didn't buy it.
You just boot the other ones out. You boot the other ones out. You just don't start with them at all. When I boot up that game, I don't want to see Captain Marvel or Iron Man or Spider. I don't want to ever see any of them. I want to see Blade and Nico and I don't want to see Doctor Strange. I want to see whoever else. I want to see Massimo down the street. Whoever else is on the Midnight Suns and these other people that play. I want to see them. Have them just be in it. Have them just be the people I interact with. I don't want to see all these these mainline people because that distorts. I don't have time. Why am I seeing Iron Man? He's dead. Why am I seeing him? You may say this happened. Well, this technically happened. Cool, but 4 years ago, Iron Man died, and so now he's dead.
That was 4 years ago.
Wow,
maybe. So that's it, right? Yeah. Spider-Man went to space and then married Zendaya, and now he's gone. Okay, he shouldn't be here right now. Okay, just pick different people, and then maybe I would have tried it. So I think that's a major part of it. I don't know. But
it's a shame. You have a good point because how many superheroes are there in the Marvel universe?
A couple.
And they have to keep focusing on the same 10.
Right.
I mean, come on, guys. You know why. You know why they do it. They need to sell it. Yeah, they
Milk
need to
it.
sell it.
Milk it.
You're not putting Nico on the cover and having people buy the game, but if you put Iron Man on the cover, people buy in the game. That's how it works.
They'll buy
Yeah, but
it
you
if,
could
if
put-
Daredevil's on it.
You can put a
The
Blade on
Punisher.
there. You can put Ghost Rider on there.
Yeah, even Ghost Rider.
I mean, man, Daredevil would have been a good character to have. Dang
Daredevil would have been amazing.
He's mainstream Marvel too. I don't know why you're
But not
acting
as
that's like
much,
a.
though.
He's not
He had a
mainstream.
series.
Mainstream. Look, you get Daredevil
not-
in there. You get Jessica Jones in there, right? You just spice it up a little with some of the lower tiered ones, right? You don't, you know.
I mean, not to get into a Marvel, discussion here, which I guess we obviously are. I don't like what they do either. Like, take for instance, what was that? Marvel Infinite? No, what was the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite? Right. The fourth Marvel vs. Capcom game.
Okay, sure.
That whole Marvel side was filled with, I think, only MCU people. Only MCU people, which was very annoying because the old Marvel vs. Capcom, say like 2, had such a good blend of some X-Men, Doctor Doom,
Yep. Yep.
And then Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was like Black Widow, Winter Soldier, just like, oh my God, these guys are not fun. Winter Soldier is not fun. Right. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, he's a guy that shoots guns. Black Widow's the person that, like, just I don't like that. They do that with all the Marvel games. The Marvel game that they just made, that just the Avengers game that just bombed, just MCU characters.
Yeah.
With Kamala Khan thrown in there, who would later get a TV show. It's just, why they do it. I know why they do it.
Yeah.
And they hope they can look past that for characters that are special, like I said, like Ghost Rider, Nico. But Jeremy, you couldn't get over your biasy.
Fair.
That's okay. That's okay.
I couldn't. I think them giving those characters and that brand a little bit of time to breathe can help with that. And so, which kind of lends into something that David, you were talking about, which is, I wouldn't say they've totally, I guess you would say they've given these characters time to breathe. You've mentioned kind of like The Last of Us. We were kind of talking about it before on the previous level that you had played it. You put like 40, 50 hours into The Last of Us Part 2.
Yep.
You absolutely loved The Last of Us. Now, is the original Last of Us probably in your top 10 or 20, you think?
Yes.
Ooh, easily. I think that might be top 5 for him. I think it might be top 5. I've
never clung to a game like The Last of Us since like Resident Evil.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw it out there. If we get one Patreon member, we'll do a top 50 list. That's our first Patreon goal. One member, top 50 list.
Wait, so how many Patreon people do we need to have then? Just one?
Just one. One member. Okay. We do a top 50.
Well, then I guess we're going to do it because we got one.
Do we really?
We do.
Is it somebody we know? Is that a cheat? Is it someone we know?
It is someone we know. It is my wonderful, beautiful girlfriend.
That's awesome, Hover. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
First patron.
That's awesome.
Yes, she's jazzed up. Hey, guess what, lady? You're going to get a top 50 list.
50.
150 games from these 3 bozos right here, courtesy of you.
That means I have to remember 50 games I've played.
Right.
This is going to be a venture.
It'll fill up quick. Trust me.
This is a project. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah. So going back to that, like, for one, The Last of Us, the original Last of Us, that's Pantheon for you. It's been what, 10, 12 plus years since that game came out.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about The Last of Us, the TV series now. It is, as I say, the zeitgeist. Mm-hmm. So I was curious about if you want to expand on kind of what you were talking about, because you were making a pretty interesting connection. We're all kind of talking about how like IPs, either from movie or television, are affecting games, and how games, this is a difference where the game is kind of affecting a television IP, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So kind of like, yeah.
So like The Last of Us series right now is doing amazingly well.
Mm-hmm.
I read something, I forget what it said exactly, but like The Last of Us series is like the top 6th most watched right now. Like ever.
Like ever? Oh wow.
Yeah, like it is up there. Like and it's doing very well with the gaming fans as well, which is the big elephant in the room, I guess. Because like for a great example, the Resident Evil stuff, the newest movie and the original 6 or 7, most of the gaming community is not a fan of those.
Right.
But here in The Last of Us, they're loving it. You know, some of them are like, "Oh, well, this didn't happen. This just changed a little bit." Like, you obviously can't put exactly everything in a game in a show because there's just some stuff, you know, just fighting bad guys. Like, that's just so you have more to do in the game. If you're just walking around a city, oh, another cutscene, walk around, another cut, like that's boring. So they need to give you a little action, and they need to give you like, oh, you need to find your bullets, and you need to find items to make stuff. Like they're not doing that in this series. Sorry, spoilers, but you know, it's still very close. Like they're doing scene for scenes from the series to the game. Like you can play the TV episode and a cutscene from the game, and they are very close. And I think that's where they're doing very well because they don't do that with Resident Evil, for an example again. You know, they're taking the IP and just putting their own twist on it.
Yeah.
You know, like they're slightly doing that with the Last of Us series, but they're still very tuned in to the game. So what I wanted to talk about was, is this possible with any game, or is the Last of Us series only working because it's almost realistic?
That is a good question. I don't think the reason is because it's realistic. People don't have any problem watching sci-fi TV shows or high fantasy TV shows. I think it has to do with The Last of Us is a great game, but it's also an amazing story. And that's what really propels it to be able to transition into a TV show. That the story is so good that, you know, gamers love it, and people that don't like games would also like it because how good the story is. So if your game has a decent story, you can transition into a different media and do really well. And if your game doesn't have a story, you're going to have to kind of make it up yourself and hope that the original fans don't feel slighted by it. So that's my little take on it. How about you, Jim?
Okay.
Yeah, I'd pretty much reiterate very quickly. It's poop in, poop out, right? The Last of Us show is starting with what I would argue is probably, I don't know, probably one of the 5 best written games ever made. The story of the Last of Us is exponentially better than the game of The Last of Us, at least in my opinion. So yeah, you don't have to do a lot of tweaking and modifying. You can just write scene to scene from the game because it is that well written. The show, I mean, I have my opinions about you know, the director of, or the original director writer of The Last of Us, Neil Druckmann, and the show creator Craig Mazin. They're both incredibly talented individuals who are somewhat self-important, but they are both incredibly talented. So you have high talented quality original writing, you have the high quality person that originally made it, and then you have someone of high quality that's able to interpret and bring it to screen. I think that helps. If you look at other games, if you start with poop,
you're gonna end with it.
You're gonna end with it. I mean,
That's
you know,
true.
I don't. It depends. I don't. I think the fact that it's just realistic. I mean, I don't know. I think if you take the time, someone could probably put together a really good Mass Effect television show, right? It also depends on the medium you want to do, whether it's show or movie. I think a lot of times people look at games and they say, let's just make a movie of it. And I think television actually relates a lot better to it.
I mean, video games are super long form, and TV
Right,
shows
I was
are
gonna
long
say
form.
you get a lot
So
more
it matches
in
up.
episodes.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, and and that way, I think you got to pick your spots. Now, as much as we can look at a TV show like The Last of Us and say, well, yeah, that's an example, right? Also, at the same time, don't we also have Halo going on Paramount Plus? And that's not getting anywhere near as one of the reception as far as writing.
Right.
Because, and I would say for the most part, Halo has pretty high quality writing. I don't think any of the writing in Halo reaches the bar of The Last of Us, but I don't think it's poop. So, in some instances,
I haven't really kept up with the Halo show, but do fans of Halo like it?
No. No.
Then it's hard.
Yeah.
If the fans of the original don't like it, it would be hard to convince other people to like it. I would assume, I haven't watched The Last of Us yet. Fans of The Last of Us video game probably really enjoy The Last of Us TV show. There's not much to hate. It's like David said, almost copied, scene for scene in a lot of instances. And it seems like they've made smart, smaller changes that don't really upset people. So yes, the fans of The Last of Us like the show. Other people will like the show. The Halo show, Halo fans didn't really vibe with it. Why would anyone else care about it? Sorry to cut you off, Jeremy.
That's a good point. But it does make for, sometimes, I also feel like you're more apt to just get that response from gamers. Like gamers are going to be more upset about something they deem not being translated correctly on screen from, we hear it all the time. You mentioned it earlier, like people that read the books of stuff that ends up getting translated to a movie or something like that. There's always some gripes, but they're usually a lot tamer, and they're a lot more like well-reasoned. Truthfully, gamers a lot of times don't have a lot of well-reasoned reasons as to why they might not like something.
They're fickle, man.
True, yeah.
Fickle.
Yeah. So, I think that, I definitely think that's part of it. But as far as like the need for being like realistic, I don't think that's necessary, though I do think it helps. The Last of Us does such a good job of giving us incredibly human and vulnerable characters that I think it's really easy to connect with it from a writing standpoint, and obviously from like playing the game. So I think the hardest thing, just in my opinion, that one of the hardest things about writing is creating human connectable characters. And that's a huge weight that the writers of the show don't have to lift because it was already done 10, 15 years ago when the show or when the game was originally wrote. So
I have two more reasons why I think the success is so high with The Last of Us. I think timing has a lot to do with it. Right now in Hollywood, I would say there's probably a very lack of originality. They're going
a lot of
remakes and sequels. So where do we see a lot of original properties right now? We see them, and there's a million sequels and remakes in video games, but there's also, at this point, 40 years or 30 years to dig into some of those gaming IPs and turn them into shows or movies. And that's what Hollywood's thinking. And on the reverse side, audiences are starting to gain trust because the products that Hollywood is making are now a little bit better than they used to be. Back in the day, they would throw out crap, like Tomb Raider was one of the best, adaptations. And even that wasn't that good, but now even something like the Sonic movie, while I haven't seen them, I think they're a kid's movie probably. People seem to really enjoy those. And, they're not holding back. They're bringing in Tails. They're bringing in Knuckles, stuff like that. The Mario movie looks like it's going to be fantastic. And, no one says Mario has a good story, but they're going to take all the things that people love from there and people are going to trust them because it's been shown, okay, video game adaptations can be good now. So I think it's timing, at least a little bit of it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
We've seen another part. I think we've seen so many failures. There's a lot of what not to do's now.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
When, again, Resident Evil, the first one came out, there was a lot of do's, but there was also a lot of don'ts. Mm-hmm. What was there another game to movie before the Resident Evil? I'm
sure there was, but or maybe not. I don't know.
Like
I'm sure there was. Street Fighter for sure came out before Resident Evil.
Yeah,
I don't even remember it. I
original Super Mario Bros. Movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
John Leguizamo plays Mario.
those were awful in a good way.
Those
Not at the time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We can look fondly back on them now. It's kind of like, you idiots. But yeah, at the
if you go to
time,
the theater at the time,
Oof.
it's like, this movie's trash.
big oof. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing really like the games. Just had the same people.
And I think something like Resident Evil would benefit from a straight up, hey, this is Resident Evil 1. We're taking the story and
Right.
we're putting it into a series or a movie exactly how it is. Because guess what? Resident Evil fans would love to see it.
Yeah,
That's
like if they just took Resident Evil and just had a Jill and a
and a Chris
and a Wesker, and they're just following them through the mansion, and maybe even solving the puzzles, or they could make a Resident Evil 0 movie. Have Rebecca and Billy. Like there is a lot there, but they keep doing it wrong.
I think the latest movie tried to do that a little more than the previous ones, but even them, they didn't do that. They mixed Resident Evil 1 and 2 and
Right. I mentioned that either on the episode that released or the one that didn't, but they tried to mash 1 and 2 together.
Right.
That was the big issue. I don't know. They should have meshed 2 and 3 together if they wanted.
That makes more sense. Yeah. But start with 1. It's so iconic. People love 1.
And it's well written.
Yeah.
So just take it.
Just not well acted.
No.
But yes, it has a decent story.
Yeah, it has a decent story. So you don't have to don't try to, don't
reinvent the wheel.
You got to think about the time that Resident Evil came out. It was like early 2000s or something, right? So we were in the post-Matrix era. So everyone's trying to do a Matrix version of whatever universe they're in. Like just stick to the story, stick to the true, source material. The fans will love it for that. You can just elevate. Why create when you can just elevate? It's way easier,
Right.
You just have to have, I guess, maybe that's the credit I can give Craig Mazin, is that you have to have, I think, less ego to allow yourself to just elevate someone's work rather than just trying to create something on your own because you think you're smarter, But yeah, I think, for sure. It lends to that. And I think we're all kind of agreeing on the idea that maybe television is the best medium to tell the story of most of these games as opposed to just a movie.
Yeah.
Like, why on earth you would make an Assassin's Creed movie is beyond my mind. And each and every person a part of that production, you will rue the day you ruined that franchise. From a movie, you will rue it from a movie perspective because it lends perfectly to it. It's history. It's history action with conspiracies.
So easy. Season 1 is a timeline. Season 2 is.
It's so easy. So easy.
So I do have another question.
Yeah.
So The Last of Us, has a great story. I know Arcane and Cyberpunk, they both did pretty well. I know Cyberpunk has a story, but Arcane is based off of League of Legends, I think, right? At least the characters.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really have a story. That's just, multiplayer, people killing each other, whatever. And that did well. So what about games like Dead by Daylight? That's just a 4v1, killers or survivors. But what if there was a TV show that went and did like the lore of the characters? You guys think something like that would do well? Or not really, because nobody that's played the game doesn't know the characters. They might not even be interested. So it's not going to just expand out there.
I don't think this is a hot take to say literally any IP can be done well on movies or TV shows. They could take a Dead by Daylight and make an amazing anthology series where each episode covers one of the I don't even know, killers. Is that what they're called in the game?
Yeah.
Could cover one of the killers and their backstory, and it could be a good horror themed TV show developed by HBO or Netflix, and they could make it amazing. And that's why, video games are going to be the future of that kind of entertainment, because you got stuff like The Last of Us where you can copy and, like Jeremy said, elevate, or you got stuff like Dead by Daylight or League of Legends where it's just an idea. There's nothing set in stone. We have characters, we have locations. That's it. And if you get a good team of writers, you can make whatever you want out of that. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I would just end, if you're two games where the lore is rich enough, I think, to make really interesting stories. Anything based in the Souls series, and anything actually based in Destiny. Destiny probably has, of all the games, probably some of the most interesting, deep lore. You won't know about it because the games blow, but the lore in those games, in those games, honestly, is magnificent. It's really great. I mean, you could argue Star Wars is mostly a thing made of lore.
Right.
The stories kind of suck. It's kind of the lore in the universe of Star Wars that really is arresting and gets people to get them gravitated.
Yeah, no, if they made a Bloodborne anime, oof, I'd be all over that with beautiful animation, like kind of like Castlevania animation. If you watched any of the Castlevania, like I'd be all on that. I'd be all on that. And they can change. They can make it whatever they want. There's no big story that's out there, you know. There's a lot of ton of lore, so like the diehards would know, but like for casual people, you could write anything you want as long as you make it cool.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Maybe that's a great topic.
Yeah, it's a lot more talked about than I expected, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a good topic.
It's good to know. Good to see, though.
People, we've had a great discussion about games, but I think we're done talking about games. I think we're ready to play them. It's game time.
Game time, baby.
Ooh, look at it. That's good.
Yeah. This game time, we're going back to an oldie but a goodie. Legally Guessing.
Yes.
And I believe we have Cory bartending this round for us this evening. Cory, how about you go ahead and take
shots on me, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a game. We haven't played this in a long time, so I thought I would do something a little easier for you, a little bit on the easy medium side. So begin your guesses. You have 20 guesses, and then you have to guess the game on 21. So go ahead, gentlemen.
Alrighty.
Is it made before 2020?
Yes.
Okay, so nothing new.
Right. That would have been great if it was a no. You would have only had
exactly. I wanted a good pinching point.
But now you only have 35 years to work with.
That's okay. It's okay.
If it was a no, it would have been at max 7 different games. Let's see here. Did the game come out? Did the game come out during or after the Xbox One, PS4 era?
I do yes or no's here.
Yeah, it has to be yes or no.
Did it come out before? No, it did not come out before.
Okay.
So it came out during or after?
Yes.
So we're dealing with a game from basically 2013 to 2020.
Okay.
You've narrowed it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got 7 years of games. What is that?
7 years of games. Okay.
Not much.
Easy. Does this game have co-op?
No.
Okay. Is this game system based? Like, is it on only PS or is it only on Xbox? Is it only PC?
It is a console game. Yes.
Okay.
Or is that 5? That's 4.
That
is the game a PlayStation exclusive?
No.
Is it Xbox exclusive?
It is not.
So it's a third party game.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, you wouldn't do a Nintendo exclusive. That doesn't make any sense.
I completely forgot about Nintendo.
Everyone does. That's what I'm saying.
Everyone does.
Is this
It could be a freaking Pokemon game.
I mean, there's like thousands of options still. It could be a lot of games, David.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it could be. Is it Nintendo only?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad I asked. Glad
I
I
told you I was
trying
trying to go for an easy one. All right, get you guys back in the groove.
Does the game revolve around training and trading fighting animals?
No.
Is it open world?
Yes. Oh, this is too easy.
Is it
Yeah, it is. Go on.
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, it's Breath of the
Yeah,
Wild. That was so easy. That wasn't even a competition. That was me throwing one to you guys. That was as easy as it gets, but congrats. That was good. You narrowed it down really well, for real.
Thank you.
Righty, yeah.
Next
Good
time
job. Good job with that Nintendo one, man.
Yeah,
Good job with that Nintendo one.
I didn't want to ask it, but we asked the other two, so I had to.
Right.
Yeah. God, man.
So that was a warm up one. We're gonna get you guys next time, all right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, it won't be Animaniacs bowling, but it'll be a little tougher than
Hey, you brought that out of me.
That was the biggest bull crap.
I was gonna give you a medium one, but you're like, oh, we got this. I was like, okay, no, you don't.
There we go. We nailed it. That was a nice, quick, neat round of Legally Guessing. I like it. So, with Legally Guessing out of the way, we've reached the end of the level. So, what we like to do at the end of each level is give our final thoughts. It could be final thought about this, something related to the podcast. It could be a final thought about anything. So, who would like to give their final thoughts first?
I'll go.
Right.
Okay, so back in I don't know, November, October, somewhere there, I ordered an outfit, and I just got it today. It's of one of my favorite bands, Ginger. So you can see already, it's like one half is like gray and like a bluish white, and the other side's like orange and white. That says Ginger right there.
Yeah.
So amazing. It's a jogging suit or not, whatever. I have the pants and stuff too.
Oh, wow.
So
the full get up.
It's real comfortable. It looks amazing. It has the typical metalish writing.
Mm-hmm.
I do actually see blue and gold though.
Oh God.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Nope. We're not going there.
Signing off. Goodbye.
That's my final thought.
When I gave him the imaginary points earlier, this is the imaginary taking him back now.
All right. So I'm even. I'll give my final thoughts next. We didn't plan it like this, but so much of our show today was about theme, which I thought was really cool because, theme makes up so much of like games. And I want to give out a shout out to a board game that I'm playing currently right now. Me and my wife are in the middle of. We're going to finish it Friday. It's called Pret-a-Porter. It is a game about building a fashion empire, which is not something I have the slightest interest in, but it's pretty cool. You got to grab your designs. You got to get the materials to make the designs. You then put on fashion shows with like having the most trend or the most quality or just the most designs in general. And you have to match your designs. They have to all be sporty. You have to have a theme. And like I said, not a theme that I was like, oh man, I want to run a fashion empire, but it's cool to play these different kind of themes. And I guess my point to all of this is, if you don't think you're into a certain theme, maybe just give it a try. Buddy at work, who I don't know if you want to be named or not, and who will never listen to this, maybe just give that cartoony style game a try. Maybe you like it. Maybe you enjoy it. Anyone out there who's like, I don't like this kind of theme or that theme, maybe just try it. It could be for you.
Sounds real Gucci.
Gucci gang.
Are you planning to watch like a Versace movie or anything to like get in the spirit, trying to get some knowledge going?
You can always wear.
No, like I said, we're
Prada.
We're already in the middle of the game. We're halfway through it, but we had to quit because it was getting late on a work night. So I'm actually to expand on this. I'm actually in the middle of trying to catch up on my backlog of board games. I am 18 board games deep that I have not played, though I have already purchased. So I have 18 games sitting here, and this was just one of them. And I wanted to get it played. But fun.
And good reason.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm going to win, so that's cool too.
Always a bonus.
Yeah. So my final thought is that I fired up Game Pass, and I saw that available on Game Pass was Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and download this, check this out. And then I looked and I saw there was another game that I'm blanking on right now that I've actually been wanting to play. I can't remember what, but shows you I've been wanting to play it, so I downloaded that. And then also
wait.
game.
I'm so curious. What was it like? I need to know.
The game?
Yeah, like was it a story based? Was it like you had to at least have an idea of what it was like? Was it intimate?
I can look up the Game Pass games list for right now.
So did it just come out this month?
It just came out.
Okay.
This past I think this past month after I checked
it. Like Hi-Fi Rush?
Hi-Fi Rush? No, it
takes two of us to figure this out, I guess.
Oh,
right.
Okay, I remember. It is Shadow Warrior 3. I don't know if
of
you guys...
course.
That wasn't worth looking up.
If you guys remember, I had talked about playing and beating Shadow Warrior 2 and how I enjoyed that. So yeah, Shadow Warrior 3, Mountain Blade Bannerlord, and of course the game that tops it all off, Madden NFL 23.
Of course.
God.
I mean, I just cannot wait to load into there and play some jank.
Hate life.
Yeah. Hate play for what, like 40 hours? I hate this game. 40 hours later, like.
Yeah, I mean, well, I gotta play the Lions. I gotta make them win some stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's my final thought. I get to play some more Game Pass games that my hack wore out for, and now I'm actually paying the regular dollar amount per month for. So that is it for level 52 of your Thoughts on Players podcast. If you liked what you heard, please follow and subscribe. You can follow the podcast on all the socials. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/Thoughts and Players. Like it's all one word. We are on Instagram at thoughts.players. We are on Twitter, ThoughtsPlayer2. We are on the TikTok, Thoughts Players. And then obviously we are on YouTube at Thoughts and Players. Ampersand, not the N or the and that takes it to some other people. You don't want them, you want us. Okay. Also, we mentioned it earlier. We have a Patreon. If you would like to support us through Patreon, we would definitely support it. We have 3 different tiers. You can check them out. They all come with nice perks and benefits. But if not, just a share and a like would definitely go a long way for us. We would support that, or we would appreciate that. So that is it for me. Fellas, is there anything else you want to say?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. That's it. We'll catch you on the next level.